Hey there, welcome to ready.set.jam, a game design competition where we bring together a group of game creators to compete in a series of game-making challenges. Over 3 rounds, they'll create projects that will be played and rated by the community and our panel of judges. At the end of each round, the contestant with the lowest score will be excused from the competition until there's only one dev left. The first round was the classic game round, where our contestants needed to recreate or reimagine a classic game with a twist. This series, the classic game was Asteroids and the twist was Can't Stop Moving. If you missed that episode, there's a card up top to go check it out. But for now, let's get a quick refresher, meet our devs, and see what they made. Yannick is a game dev and video creator with a master's degree in computer science who over the last year has released Spider Doll, an adorable mobile game made in Unity where you swing through levels and fight bad guys. In the last round, Yannick made Asteroid Beetles, where you play as a spider trying not to be eaten by the beetles that are moving around the screen. To keep you from sitting still, every few seconds you will spawn a bomb at your location, and if you aren't moving away, you'll explode. The bombs are also linked, so when one in the chain goes off, they all do. The judges liked the game, but it didn't jump out in any particular area, setting it in 3rd place and safe from elimination. HelperWesley is a game dev and video creator that works on many different projects using GDevelop, and has a longer running project where you play as a technical support worker for a space station orbiting an alien planet. The goal is to support and keep the crew members alive in the research station below. In the last round, HelperWesley made Icebergs, where you are a ship sailing through open waters to find a missing Coast Guard boat. You need to use the turrets and lights to find and destroy icebergs that threaten your ship. Doing so will give you currency which you can spend in the shop menu to buy upgrades. Every so often, a monster will appear to attack the ship and you'll need to have enough upgrades to take it down and continue. The game is dripping with atmosphere and the judges really liked it, except for one bit of an issue with pacing, earning the game 2nd place in round 1. SidFish is a game dev and video creator who works as a data analyst and makes games using GameMaker Studio. They have a longer running project in the works called Pushy Worm. Pushy Worm is an adorable Snakebird inspired game where you play as a worm dad that must solve movement puzzles to feed your 3 children. In the last round, SidFish made Cargo Chase, where you play as a spaceship that needs to deliver cargo to different locations around the level. The catch is, the cargo will hurt you if you don't keep moving while you have it, and you can't deliver the cargo until you've destroyed and collected enough elements from the asteroids themselves. If you can survive to deliver 5 boxes, you win, and are given a time in which you can try to beat next time. The judges loved the game, scoring it highly in all categories. The overall polish and gameplay secured 1st place for SidFish in round 1. And that's our standings moving into round 2, which we call the Scope Creep round. In game development, scope creep is the concept where after a project is begun, elements, ideas, and mechanics are added to the game which increase the scope and change it from its initial structure. Sometimes you just don't get to choose whether or not you would like to add something to a project, and that's what we're simulating here. Our contestants will have to take the game they made in the 1st round and add in one of these 3 scope creep challenges. As the winner of the 1st round, SidFish gets to choose which of them all of our contestants will use. And for this round, SidFish has chosen Bigger is Better. And that's the challenge set. Our designers now have a total of 24 hours to use over the next 7 days to update their game from round 1 to add in the concept of bigger is better, as well as make any other updates they would like. Let's see how they do.
Alright, the bigger the better. To keep it simple, I just created 3 different bomb sizes. The longer you wait to place the bomb, the bigger it will get. But if you wait too long, you will explode. Now that was easy. It just took me 20 minutes to finish the task for the 2nd round. So for the rest of the time, I polished the game. This was super necessary. First, I remade the explosion effect to make it cooler and to adjust it to the bomb size. I also improved the bomb connection, so the bombs aren't exploding simultaneously anymore, but they are triggered in a chain reaction. I fixed some weird bugs since this is game development and as usual nothing works as expected. And last, I wanted to make this shooting feel more epic by implementing a slow motion effect. Together with some cool sounds and a nice vignette effect, it feels awesome. To make bigger better, I also added a high score. Big beetles give a higher score than small beetles, and big bombs give you more points than small bombs. And the big shot at the end of the shooting mode also provides additional points when you hit an enemy.
I had somehow managed to survive the first round, where SidFish blew all of us out of the water with his game, and as their reward, they picked bigger is better. And so to adjust the game to this scope creep, I decided to add more boss monsters, so that by the end of the game you'd be facing 3 different kaiju type creatures. And so I went down that path and created art and attack patterns and got them all ready, and really didn't like it. So with more than half of my time chunked away, I went back to what I had last round and just made it so that the boss gets bigger every time you encounter them. And the bigger icebergs were worth more than the smaller icebergs, which was all I could do with the amount of time I had. I tweaked a couple things here and there, notably the sound effects, and I added in this lightning crash so that you could see the entire screen for like a split second to tell where the icebergs were. But I didn't really get anything other than that done, because that's how game jams work sometimes. But I crossed my fingers and sent the game off. Knowing who was judging the jam, I really shouldn't have gone the slow-paced horror route. But considering how much time I wasted, I'm just happy to have anything at all that I can submit that technically meets the requirements.
I decided to incorporate the scope creep of bigger is better in a few ways in my game, and the most obvious idea that came to mind was making objects already in the game bigger. I started with making the cargo grow as you collected the orbs. Making larger sprites for it was quite easy, as I had already made a model of it in Blender, and it only meant rendering it out in a larger size. I figured the cargo growing as you were trying to deliver it would gradually add more challenge to the game, and add some more tension to the gameplay loop. The bigger it got, the harder it was to avoid. The other way I added the element of bigger is better is to make one of the enemy ships bigger, which would also act as a boss in the game. Previously it was possible to finish the game without destroying any of the smaller ships, but I wanted to make it a requirement that you had to beat the boss in order to finish the game after the update. The way I achieved this is having the last cargo tethered to it. You will only be able to collect it after killing the big ship. I thought this mechanic gave the game a bit more depth and would also give new players a surprise when they first encounter the big ship, as up until then they simply had to collect cargo from a stationary base. This cargo chase is based on an old retro game, and retro games are known for high score tables. The last update for the round was adding one in. I thought this would add a bit of replay value for those wanting to speedrun the game and see their name on their online leaderboard. It doesn't have that much to do with bigger is better, but I thought it was a cool addition anyway. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the updates I made to this round. I was considering making the levels a bit bigger and adding more stations, but decided the size of the map in the end was about right for a jam game. There are also times a player can get sandwiched between asteroids in unfair situations and take a bunch of damage, so if I had more time I may have tried to address this somehow. I had a bunch of fun making the updates in this round, so I hope you check out the game.
The build time is up and the games have been submitted. It's time to send them off to our judges to rate and play. Each round is scored by 5 judges in 6 categories: art, audio, feel, originality, fun, and overall. The judges will be myself as well as my community. During the judging time frame, anyone on my Twitch or Discord was able to sign on, play the games, and leave a rating. All community ratings are then averaged into one judge vote, which will then be combined with mine as well as our 3 special guest judges. Sam Hogan, a fantastic game dev and content creator here on YouTube that makes a variety of projects using Unity, like the hardest game ever or a game inside a game, and even recreating Minecraft with no blocks. Tim Ruswick, an amazing game dev and content creator that started the Game Dev Underground community, and has either released or is working on releasing games like Phylophobia, Battle Barn Tactics, and the card game Murder Bunnies. WhyLevin, another incredible game dev, video creator, and Twitch streamer, who is the lead designer on a little game you may have heard of called Where's My Water, as well as many others. WhyLevin's also released games like Pro Gymnast, the Switch game Very Very Valet, and is currently rebooting their popular mobile game Jellycar into Jellycar Worlds. Thank you for the judges for taking time out of their schedule to play, rate, and give their feedback. Now let's see what they have to say. Yannick kept much of the game the same, but added more elements that are better when bigger. To help this along, the game now has a high score tracker to encourage you to use the new mechanics. Waiting to drop your bomb will result in a bigger one that will give you more points when destroying an enemy, as well as a large final shot in the shooting phase, which also gives you a higher point value. On top of that, Yannick added more polish, like a slowdown effect while shooting, which really helps with aiming. Connected bombs now don't all explode at once when one goes off, instead having a nice fuse effect that travels down the connections before detonating. There wasn't much change to the art between rounds other than effects. The game still has a nice clean minimal style that the judges enjoy. The music is still a great fit for the game, and the additional beep as the bomb grows before placing it is a nice touch. WhyLevin did feel that the audio is a bit stiff at times, but overall it still works really well. The judges still struggled with the controls a little bit. You are able to stop now, which along with the slowdown really helps with aiming during the shooting phase. But there is still some frustration that comes from placing a bomb and having it explode before you can really get away. The concept of the game is still nice, but the addition of bigger bombs just didn't take hold with all of the judges, as it didn't come up much in gameplay. It's a fun game to play, if not a little bit frustrating due to the controls at times. Trying to anticipate the path of the beetle and lay a bomb in the right spot, while making sure you do it fast enough so you don't blow up is engaging. The slowdown of the shot phase also adds some nice tension, as it's the time when you have the most control and you don't want to waste the opportunity. Overall, the game is enjoyable, but there's still this feeling from some of the judges that there's something that's either missing or not focused properly. Tim found the different mechanics of bomb laying and shooting to be a bit unclear at times and splitting the core of the game a little bit. But the updates and additions do add to the enjoyment and flow of the game for round 1 for sure. HelperWesley ran into some problems with time, and the only real addition of bigger is better is the monster getting larger each time you encounter it, and larger icebergs giving you more currency. One of the judges' main comments in round 1 was that the game was very slow paced. Now, the icebergs spawn much more frequently, keeping you searching and rotating the slow moving turrets whenever you can. The boss also now has an attack that comes from the side which you need to look out for, making it harder to focus fire in one direction when it appears. Like the first round, the atmosphere and art are all on point. The added lightning effect gives a brief glimpse of what's around you, which is a nice touch, especially with the added iceberg spawns. The audio continues to fit really well, but there's still this bit of quiet every now and then. Now with more icebergs, there's more action and less lulls in the activity, so it feels like it could use just a bit more. And I still request that if you make a game where you have a sound effect that plays repeatedly for long periods of time, to add in a tonal variation just to break it up a bit. The pacing of the game has improved a lot, with less waiting around than last time. The ending does suffer as there isn't really one. Once you've bought all the upgrades, there's no way to get any stronger, which means the boss still eventually just gets too strong to beat and you lose. A bit of a hit on this score, as the implementation of the scope creep was pretty superficial. The creature getting bigger doesn't do much for gameplay and doesn't really encompass bigger is better. There's something really compelling about this game. It sucks you in while you're playing and has enough to keep you focused without becoming too overwhelmed. It's very engaging, and all the judges still agree they have fun playing it, especially with the adjusted iceberg spawn rates. Overall, the judges really liked the game, but felt the scope creep wasn't really there in a great way. But the updates have definitely made the game much more interesting and enjoyable as a whole. SidFish added the bigger is better scope creep in 2 main ways. The crate you collect now grows in size as you fill it with asteroid material, making it harder to avoid and maneuver with. And for a really fun surprise, the final crate is being held by a big boss ship that will have to be defeated before the crate can be collected and delivered. One final addition is that of a leaderboard, which allows people to flex their skills and see how they stack up against others. The art didn't change much from the first round, other than the larger versions of the crate and boss, but it was loved by the judges then and still is here. Like the art, the audio is still the same great quality. The shooting sound effect from the first round was a single sound that got repetitive after a while. That has been updated with some variations, which helps break up the monotony. The feel is still great. The boss battle is a nice break to the pick up and deliver flow that you get into, and the first time it shows up is a great moment. The game has a nice challenge without being too hard, hitting a very nice balance. The theme additions work well in the case of the crate. It helps with user experience, giving a visual as to how full the crate is, making for a subtle and effective implementation. The game was fun in the first round, and that hasn't really changed. The leaderboard is a nice addition to give players more reason to try again. Before, you could always try to beat your own time, but it feels like there's more of an incentive when you can beat others' times as well. The judges don't really have much to say here other than it's great and well done. The updates enhanced an already enjoyable experience. And that's the feedback. Let's see how the voting went. In first place, and on to the final head-to-head challenge, our winner is SidFish. The game is a great overall experience and a lot of fun to play. Cargo Chase implements the bigger is better theme well, and it makes for a great update to the round 1 version. Congratulations, SidFish. We now have 2 contestants left, but unfortunately only one can move forward. Both Yannick and HelperWesley did an amazing job updating their games, made really fun playable experiences, and you should both be very proud about what you've done. But unfortunately, the person that has to leave us today is Yannick. You made a great game, and Asteroid Beetles has some really interesting ideas and mechanics. But unfortunately, the new additions just didn't pull the judges in enough to get you out of 3rd place. Which means that HelperWesley is through to the final round, where they will go head-to-head against SidFish to see who will be crowned the winner of this series of ready.set.jam. Iceverse was lacking in the theme, but the other additions and overall engaging gameplay pushed the game into 2nd place. Congratulations to SidFish and HelperWesley, and commiserations to Yannick. Thank you so much for taking part, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing things you make in the future. This has been a great competition so far, and there's still 1 round left. Please go check out all our amazing game designers. Links to them as well as our judges are in the description below. We'll see you in the final round, where SidFish and HelperWesley will have to make one last game with a brand new theme and restriction, and we'll find out what they are next time on ready.set.jam. I need to thank Gingerbeard4251 and Mr. Boxmonkey for all of their help. Without them, none of this would be happening. If you would like to help support the channel, keep these going and see more, giving the video a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell are all amazing ways to help out. Sharing this video with others you think would like it would also be immensely appreciated. If you would like to go a step further, I have a Patreon where you can directly support these videos, like these awesome people: Clone13, Cortland Masson, Curdle Games, Nightfall, It's Jeppy, Jed, Kevin Haugau, Killboy Gaming, Motzi Makes, Nazar Salim, Salty Pretzel, Scott Hansen, Soapy Gnome, Straight Up Gruntled, and Warren Stephen Rhodes. I really can't thank you all enough for the support. If you would like to chat with me, the best place to do that is on my live streams at twitch.tv/Vimlark. We have a super chill community and I would love to talk with you. And we also have a Discord full of even more incredible people. If you've hung around to this point in the video, you're the best. Thank you so much. I'll talk with you next time. Have a good one. Later.